Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am wanting to do a quick review, I'll say quick, let's see how long this takes, of my experience with my Windows 365 Link device. You can see it there, it's just going through the reset process. I've had it out of the box, I've turned it on, I've joined it to Entra, I've signed in, I've signed out, I've connected to my cloud PC. It does everything it says. But Microsoft marketing, you love to fluff things up and make them into this great product. It's not as good as you make it out to be. That's my view anyway. Maybe I'm being harsh, maybe I'm just sharing my frustrations with the device. But the videos I've seen of these Link devices is, look at this is a great product, it's going to connect you to your cloud PC in seconds, it's going to do this, it's going to do that. Whilst, yes, all this is a thin client, let's face it, it's a glorified thin client. It's a modern day thin client to connect to your modern day cloud PC. But my experience using the Windows app on a PC is much better than on this device. It's quicker. I'll be honest. Logging on is quicker. Logging off is a hell of a lot quicker. Disconnecting is so much quicker via the Windows app on a regular PC, or for that point, Windows 365 boot. Now, I know the concept of the Windows 365 Link device is kind of taking Windows 365 boot to the next level. You've got a device, it's got a stripped down version of Windows, it's secure, you've got the Defender on there, you've got BitLocker, you've got TPM, but there's no hard drive in this device, so you can't install software on the device itself. It's got the hardware so you can redirect your things like video and audio to it. So that's good. But when I logged on to it, it took a bit longer than it did through Windows 365 boot or from the Windows app on my Mac and my Windows device. Logging off, my experience was horrendous. It took maybe 5 minutes to disconnect. Whereas again, if I'm doing it from my Windows device or my Mac or a Windows 365 boot device, it disconnects pretty much instantaneously. Log off, again, pretty much quickly from those other devices. Log off from this device, it took about 5 minutes. So that, I would say, isn't great. The out-of-the-box experience is very straightforward. I'll touch on that shortly. Once it's back up. But again, I think Microsoft have missed a few steps here. The other thing I noticed you can't do, maybe there is a way to do it, I haven't found it because there's so little information for these devices other than what's on the Microsoft Learn articles, is things like autopilot. It would be great if you could autopilot this and have it linked to your own tenants, your own Intune subscription, and therefore you can then brand it with your own branding rather than having the Microsoft logo up there. These are all things that I think could be easily fixed, but true to form, Microsoft have done their usual, let's just push something out, let's just make it available to everyone, and then we'll fix as we go along. If I was to rate this out of 10, I would be generous and I'd give it 3. And that's purely because of the concept, the idea, and its potential. User experience is shocking. Once you're logged on, it's as if you're at a PC. That's normal. But that logging on experience, it's not great as part of the user journey. Firstly, everything's defaulted to US. So as a UK keyboard, you've got to remember to do Shift 2, not Shift, and the at key that's near the return key on the other side of the keyboard. So things like that. time zone. I had to create an in-tune policy for time zone because otherwise I think it's 8 hours ahead. I don't know why it's ahead rather than it should be 8 hours behind if it's US, but anyway, that's by the by. And it's just things like that. So I figured out where to set the keyboard layout on the device itself. Once you set that, log on. I've got UK keyboard layout. I log off, and it's then reset it to US. I don't want to have to reset the keyboard layout every time I'm using the device. If I'm, say, a nurse, because I think one of the prime targets of Windows 365 Frontline Worker is for shared nurses stations, for example. So if I'm a nurse and I'm having to log on to a device, the last thing I'm going to want to do is change my keyboard layout or remember to press Shift-2 instead of Shift and the at key. That could actually, dare I say it, that could be a life or death situation. I remember when I was at Microsoft, things with Edge replacing IE11, it was, we need a life or death kind of ticket for IE11 because something didn't work in Edge. Anyway, I digress. This device, for me, isn't as good as I thought it would be. And yes, I know it's a thin client. There's nothing to wow you about it. I bought this device myself, so this isn't sponsored. This isn't a case of give us a great review of it. I'm being completely honest with what I think. I want to like this device. I want to say, yeah, go out and get these. These will be great. But it's not at that point yet. I really don't think it's ready. So now it's finished rebooting. Let me take you back to the device itself, to the desktop, and we'll go through the process of logging on and getting it all set up. So here I am on my Windows 365 Link device. You can see here I've got my Wi-Fi's listed, so that's the first thing I get prompted with. So let me log on to my Wi-Fi. So connect automatically. Log on. That's me on my Wi-Fi. Time zone, as I said earlier, that's got me at 8 p.m. It's literally 12 p.m. It's lunchtime here now. So that is fixed by an in-tune policy. Get the license agreement next. Again, what I was saying with autopilot would be great if you could do something there so it accepts the agreement first and you get your company logo, etc., like you do with autopilot just now. So if I'm going to log on, Andrew, then oh, look, it's not UK keyboard. So you can change it here. So click down in the control center, go to language. It's defaulted to English United Kingdom, but you have to go to change keyboard layout. Now, this looks grayed out to me, but it's not. So if you click on that, and you've got United Kingdom. So I'm going to go back now. Let's go back to this, Andrew, and using the correct at key, not the US one, it works. So it's going to ask me for security key or pass key, so I'm going to just use my pass key. And it takes a bit of time to connect first time, but I'm not too rushed by that. It's thinking about it. There you go. Continue. So that's going to join to my Entra, and it's going to allow me to then log on. So this is just going to pull down the policies and other things that are set via Intune. Not that there's much because it's just literally the time zone that's set. So let me just leave that going as it is. The other thing I've noticed with this was I've got my FIDO2 key my YubiKey plugged into the device. Now, it will only attempt to log me on with the last registered account on there. So if you have multiple Enter accounts on the one key, it will log you on with the last registered account. So for me, that's not great because my account I use here is the very first account I registered on each of my keys. So it tries logging on with that. Not great. Lack of USB-C ports. Again, my FIDO to YubiKey passkey's USB-C, so that's plugged into an adapter which is plugged into the front USB-A port. I have one USB-C port at the back, and that has my dongle for my Jabra Evolve headset plugged in. And then everything else is either in an adapter or USB-A. So the dongle for my keyboard and mouse is USB-A, so that's fine. My webcam is USB-C, so that's in an adapter. So again, kind of not great, but it works. So that is it logged on now. Nothing to really show here. Other than, look at that, it's changed my keyboard on my cloud PC to be US. So again, if you're using this as a shared device or something, it's just not a great idea, is my view. It's missing things. I don't want US keyboard. That's just frustrating. So you can switch it with the Windows key and space. So United Kingdom, that's great, but I shouldn't have to do that. Why does it keep resetting my keyboard? Again, Microsoft, please go and fix this. I'm going to disconnect just now. Again, typically what you would do on your Windows app, on your Mac or Windows device, you go up to the top menu, bring down that hidden menu, and you just click on the X. Or you would do right click, so shut down or sign out. So let's just disconnect. I'm going to hit disconnect and let's see how long this takes. You would have expected it to have disconnected by now. But no, it hasn't. I think previously it took about 5 minutes. Now, I did think this was an issue with my Windows 365 cloud PC, but I tried it with my dev one, and again, same experience. So is this the device I've got, or is this a feature, shall we say, an undocumented feature? I'm going to stop the recording now because it's going to take a bit of time. So it finally disconnected me, and I kid you not, it took over 5 minutes to log off. Again, I don't think that's a great experience. So I'm going to log back on, and keyboard's reset again. Yeah, if I'm running it in a shared nurse's workstation or something, you want to log on quickly, you've got to change keyboard. I know it's no hardship pressing Shift 2, but not everyone thinks like that. I mean, I've been working in IT for, I'm not going to admit how long, and I use a Mac, so I'm used to Shift 2. But those who aren't used to it, why should they have to get used to it? Is my view. So if I log on now, again, it's going to ask me for my key. Fix my camera up. And continue. Log on. I think log on itself doesn't take too long, I hope. even logging on via the Windows app on my Mac or on my Surface itself is pretty quick. Okay, there you go. So it's kept my keyboard as UK just now. So that's good. So let's just try that. UK. But it's just... Let's try and log off again. So shut down. I'll do a disconnect again, because the idea of your cloud PC is, unless you are a shared frontline worker, it will just reconnect you to your previous session. So let's disconnect, because it could just be the first disconnection takes a long time. I don't know. I mean, you can push the Control-Alt-Delete, and that brings up the old task menu. But this is on the local device itself, not the cloud PC. So if I do lock sign out, it will just sign out the actual device, not the session that I'm connected to, which is, I think, a bit confusing. I can even shut down, restart, sleep the device here if I wanted to. You potentially could do sleep, but I'm in that middle of disconnecting phase now, so that's probably going to cause some issues. So I wouldn't expect this kind of experience. So again, let me stop the recording just now, because I think this is going to take at least another 5 minutes to log out, and we'll come back to it. So again, the disconnect took a fair amount of time. I'm going to try logging on again, so let me just put in my email address. And it's kept the keyboard setting this time, so that's good. Let me get my phone. Let me just do a sign in with passkey. Continue. And log me on. So I don't know if the initial connections are down to, because it's just been set up. That was fairly quick. Okay, UK English still, so it's kept my keyboard. If I do a shutdown, and let's do sign out this time, let's see what happens. So get the signing out, and it's going to hold here. Now, again, I think it's just going to hang here for a fair bit. Using the Windows app on my Mac or on my Windows, it signs out and then drops the connection. So not great. Again, I can do the Control-Alt-Delete and bring up this. So I could even do sleep, shut down, restart on there. I've had issues with that. I kid you not. The whole user experience on this Windows 365 Link device has been pretty poor. I really would have expected Microsoft to release something that's almost fit for purpose. I mean, it's a given. Whenever Microsoft do release something new, it's going to be buggy to start with. Let's face it, we've all experienced that over the years. But this really does take the biscuit. I'll be honest, I'm not happy spending this much money on a device that has all these flaws in it. Anyway, that's just my view. So the last thing I'm going to try is just going to go through this, the shutdown, but now that's logged off. Again, it took at least 5 minutes to disconnect me. I'm just going to check keyboard layout, and for some reason it's defaulted back to US. So if I look at that, disconnected, it kept it as UK. Signed out, it put me back to US. But if I then want to just do a shutdown or let's do a restart. Okay, that worked pretty quickly. When I was playing around with it earlier, it just seemed to freeze on that section. So again, there's nothing running, so it should just come up with a restart. But it looks like it's just frozen at this page again. So Control-Alt-Delete. Nope, that doesn't bring anything up. Oh, that's now restarting, I think. Yes. So let's see what happens after it's restarted. Wants me to sign in. Let's check keyboard layout, etc. So language, change keyboard layout, set to US again. So I've got to change that. Yeah, I'm not impressed by this device overall. In conclusion, I do not think it's worth buying one just now. I really think it's a paperweight. Actually, it's not even that, because the one good thing is it's lightweight. It's got some weight to it, but for what it is, I think it's a good size. Great concept. It's a really good idea, but at the moment it's pointless. My whole user experience of this is shocking. I think when I said I gave it a 3 out of 10, that was me being generous. I wouldn't waste your money on one of these just now. Go with Windows 365 boot, or let Macs from their current Windows devices. But then if they're doing that, do they need Windows 365? But yeah, it's a shame. I think there's potential here, but Microsoft just aren't there just yet. So I've logged back onto the device, connected my camera and headset and everything, and that works okay. But what I noticed was after that restart, everything was defaulted to US, and when I logged on, I thought, right, I'll just put Shift 2 to log on to the device with. It changed my keyboard on the device, on the cloud PC itself. So again, that's really something that Microsoft needs to get fixed. You can't have your users switching their keyboard layout. I mean, there's not much with the UK-US keyboard layout difference. It's just there are some keys that are a bit of a nuisance. But if I had a French keyboard or a German keyboard or a foreign language keyboard, that's going to be really frustrating for users. So I echo my comment earlier. This device, I think, is not ready yet. Microsoft need to do a lot more in order to make it viable. Yeah, I'm going to keep it because maybe there'll be an update. But for a £350 device, it is not worth it. Really, at the moment, I really would say don't do it, especially for an enterprise. I just don't think it's going to be there yet. Anyway, this review was completely impartial. I say impartial. It's been very negative, but it's my own view. So this isn't linked to anybody else other than myself. And I hope that somebody else has had a better experience with these devices. I'm really keen to learn what other people have experienced when using it. But from a usability point of view, I really think this isn't there yet.